Can you imagine what it would feel like if the human brain was developed to 100%? The brains of ordinary animals are developed to 3%, while the brains of normal people are only developed to 10%. Even the brain of physicist Einstein is only developed to 15%. So here comes the question. What would happen if the human brain was developed to 100%? The result is inevitable. He is a godlike existence. With just a flick of his finger, the enemy will fly out of the trees. With just a glance, roaring sky dog will retreat again and again. Even Tyson in his prime has to avoid his edge. The heroine Luna was originally a college student, but she met a drug dealer in a bar. Changing boyfriends, that's when she got involved in a gang drug deal. He was captured by a gangster and knocked unconscious. When he woke up, he found that a new type of drug had been stuffed into his stomach. It turns out that the gangs wanted to use them as human couriers to smuggle drugs into Europe. But just before they set off, a tattooed man made sexual advances toward Luna, and then he started to make sexual advances. Luna, who had been stubborn since childhood, did not tolerate him. This successfully angered the tattooed man, and he punched Luna. Then he kicked him hard in the stomach. After the two left, Luna was in great pain. It turned out that the medicine in her stomach had leaked out. The blue particles were spreading in her body at a speed of Mach 5, instantly opening up her 8 extraordinary meridians. The pulse was trembling, and the body began to twitch constantly, from the ground to the ceiling. Uncle Nyo was almost made to come back to life on the spot because of his anger. In this way, under the effect of the drug, her brain was developed to 20%. When she woke up again, she was completely reborn. She was expressionless and sat on the chair as steady as an old dog, as if she had just nothing happened. Then another old pervert who was greedy for beauty came in. Seeing this, Luna raised the corners of her mouth and spread her legs, just as the man was about to take action. Now with the pistol in hand, I have Luna in the world. If a kid is shot, she can pull out the bullet with her bare hands, walk to the door, use the gun to hail a taxi and go straight to the hospital. Arriving at the hospital lobby, I looked at the sign with a retinal translator, I found the operating room, turned right after entering the door and went straight to the patient's CT scan. After reading it, I turned around and put the patient in surgery. The patient was shot dead, and he told the doctor that he was beyond help, with advanced brain cancer. And that the cancer cells had already spread throughout his body. You should perform surgery on me first. Just like that, without the use of anesthesia, the doctor helped him remove the remaining blue particles from his body. The next step was to seek revenge on the gangster. He came to the Red Romantic Spa with a gun. He first fired a few shots through the door. When he entered the room, he saw his younger brother. They were all knocked down. The gangster who was applying a watermelon facial mask was still unaware. But the next second, Luna pressed her fingers against her head and read the black boss's memory, and soon found several other packages of drugs. At night, she turned on her computer. Coupled with your finger speed after being single for 20 years, she quickly found the world's most authoritative professor of human brain development, and then the phone call was made. Hello, Professor, my name is Luna. I have read all the books you wrote about brain development. There are 314,159 words in total. If you don't believe me, I can recite it to you. The professor thought it was a scam call. Just as he was about to hang up, Luna strangely appeared on the TV. She told the professor, her own brain. Now it has been developed to 30%, and it is possible to control things with the mind, such as radios, computers and telephones. Now the knowledge in my head is still exploding, and I don't know what to do, so I called you. The professor paused for a moment. Then he told Luna that the meaning of life is to pass on. Luna understood instantly, and then the two agreed to meet in 12 hours. She walked to the airport and saw her news being played on the screen. Luna saw this. With just a bala bala, the little fairy changed from a curly-haired girl to a black straight-haired girl. Then he took out his Nokia and called the French police on the other side of the ocean. After the call was connected, Luna directly revealed the police's information. Name. Your desk. Sit in your chair, pick up the left pento the left of you and. The police turned around and was stunned. At this time, 3 photos appeared directly on the screen. Luna told her that these 3 people had illegal drugs in their bodies and you police have to catch them. Then Luna boarded a plane to Paris, and she was seen typing away on her computer with both hands. This action made the Mediterranean guy standing next to him dumbfounded. The moment she closed her computer, her brain had been developed to 40%, and now her brain was filled with all the knowledge in the world. At this time, Luna ordered a cup of 1982 Taizi, and after taking a sip, she actually lost one of her front teeth. He coughed and 3 more fell off, and then his skin began to fly around like powder. He quickly hid in the toilet, but when he closed the door, he found that his fingers had disappeared and even his face began to deform. He could only take out the blue granules from his bag and eat them ravenously, thus preserving his extraordinary looks. At this time, his brain had developed to 50%, and when he woke up again, he was already in the hospital. When he walked out of the door, he found himself surrounded by the police. He just pointed with his left hand and knocked down a group of men in an instant. Knowing that he was no match for them, he immediately recognized him as his big brother and followed Luna to find the remaining drugs. At this time, the mobile phone signal was displayed in front of him in a visible form. He randomly dialed the one he wanted and found the radio broadcast in the connected car. It turned out that the gangster boss had also found the location of the remaining drugs. In order to get there before the gang, Luna asked to drive there herself. At first the man refused to agree that it was a police car, but the next second he flashed in place, and then Luna sped along at Mach 5. The gangster's men had arrived at the hospital and killed all the guards. The police have taken the medicine out. Fortunately, Luna arrived in time. At this moment, her brain development has reached 60%. She can create a transparent wall out of thin air to block the gangster's retreat, and then with just a glance she can suck all the enemy's weapons onto the roof. What's even more terrifying is that she can drag her enemies into the air with her mind. With one more flick of the finger, the enemy bursts out of the wall. In the end, the gang could only watch helplessly as the things were taken away, and there was nothing they could do. Soon, Luna found the professor with the blue particles. The professor also gathered a group of world-class brain scientists. At this time, a professor questioned Luna's ability. Next. Luna placed a hand on her shoulder. Aged 6, died in a car accident. It was a blue car, leather seats, plastic bird hanging. From there. The gangster also learned about the drug theft. He was ready to do it himself. Luna foresaw the future and arranged for her men to guard the gate in advance, and then began to popularize science with the scientist's knowledge of cells. His hands kept changing shapes. Luna said that humans have always used numbers as units of measurement. Actually, it is not, it should be time. If you put a car on a track, and let it accelerate infinitely, then the car will eventually disappear. We can prove that it exists. The only way is time. The professor nodded again and again after hearing this. At this time, the gangster boss had already rushed into the building with his men. Watch. Time is running out, so Luna asks to have all the remaining blue particles injected into her body. She wants to use drugs to develop her brain to 100%. As the drug was fully injected, a bright light flashed, and her brain had been developed to 70%. At this time, her arms began to expand and spread to all electronic devices. Used to absorb matter and energy, the brain soon developed to 80%. At this time, she led everyone into the four-dimensional space, and then built a world database on the spot. Then her brain developed to 90%, and she instantly traveled to the Oriental Pearl Tower. With a change of mind, she arrived at the end of the world. Finally she came to the streets of New York, only to see her hands crossed. Time stops instantly. Slide with right hand, time fast forward, slide with left hand, time fast rewind, slide with both hands again, went straight to the tribal era and continued sliding, and unexpectedly reached the dinosaur era. In the last flash, he actually found the first person on Earth. The two people put their fingertips together, which represents the origin of mankind. He then flew into space, and the image of the Big Bang flashed by. At this time, his brain had developed to 99%, and his body was constantly evolving at a speed visible to the naked eye. The gangster also arrived at the scene with a gun. At this time, the cells in Luna's body were frantically fusing at a speed of Mach 5. Just a second before the gangster fired. Seeing the scene in front of him, the gangster was completely crazy. Fortunately, he was shot dead on the spot by the man who rushed over. Finally, a tentacle stretched out from the black substance. It turned out to be a USB flash drive. It stored all the knowledge of the world. At this time, the confused man asked Luna where she had gone. Then he took out his Nokia and received a message that actually said, "I am everywhere." This really proves the saying, the only thing left is the movie on the USB drive. Let me end here and ask everyone one last question. If your brain was developed to 99%, what would you do? Everyone is welcome to leave a message for discussion. For more videos, like and subscribe channel.